Hello everyone, welcome to our first ever online Irish tunes class. Today I'm going to teach you a really nice jig. It was composed by a wonderful fiddle player from County Galway called Paddy Fahey. And there are lots, if you go onto the session website, there are lots and lots of tunes called Paddy Fahey's. Jigs, reels, you name it, it's all on there. There's a lot of tunes. This tune is, if you search by jigs, it's number 11 or something like that. So anyway, I've written out my version of the tune. So if you actually scroll down to the bottom underneath this video, you'll see a little link there where you can download the music for the tune. And the music is written notation, but also it incorporates the kind of ABC notation that we use in the class. So we've tried this in the class and lots of people have found this format the most useful one that we've used. So hopefully anyone watching will find it useful too. So as well as supplying the music to you, I'm going to go through the tune bit by bit so that if you want to learn the tune by ear, you can do so using this video. It should be easy to listen to the sections, and then if you need to pause it and run it back, it'll be quite simple, hopefully, for you to learn the tune from the video. Some people I know prefer to learn by ear rather than by written music, so I'm hoping this format will work. So I'm going to now play the tune for you, not too fast, not too slow, just a nice moderate speed to get you into the swing of how it's supposed to sound. Okay, so that's the full tune that we're going to do. It's a two-part double jig. That means there are two parts, the A part and the B part, and you play each part twice. That's what we mean by when we say it's a double jig. So the key is a little bit unusual, as are the keys of many of Paddy Fahey's tunes. I mean, it's, you know, it's sort of in D major, but most of the C's in it are natural, but there is one kind of accidental C sharp. So as long as you're playing C naturals usually until we get to that bit, you're doing the right thing. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to play the first part of the tune on its own slowly. Right, so that's the first part of the tune, and we're now going to learn that section by section. The first part of the tune starts with a simple arpeggio: D, F sharp, A, high D. It sounds like this. So I will count in now, and then you could play that along with me. We'll do it a couple of times. 1 and 2 and. And again, 1 and 2 and. After that high D, there's room for a breath if you're playing the whistle or the flute or any other wind instrument. And then the last note in that first bar, the high E, leads you neatly into the next bar. It goes like this. So there's two little bits of ornamentation going on there if you want to use them. On the high E at the end of the first bar, I'm doing a cut. And then I'm coming down the scale, so I'm going D, C, A, and then the notes as written are G, F sharp, G, but what I'm choosing to do is a roll there. And you'll see on the written music, I've written in a symbol that's shaped like a little S on its back. It's called a turn in written music. That's your cue to do a roll if you know how to do a roll. And I may do further videos that show you how to do rolls. But for now, we're focusing on the tune. So the bit that we're going to do is from the end of the first bar, we're going to do a high E, D, C, A, G roll, or G, F, G. Okay. I'll do that without the roll so you can see what it's like just to fill in the notes without the ornament. Okay, so let's just try that again. And I'll count us in and you can try to play that with me. 1 and 2. And again, 1 and 2. What we're going to do now is go back to the first bar and play bars 1 and 2. If you'd like to play that with me, I'll count in 1 and 2 and. And again, 1 and 2 and. So now we're on bar 3. This is how it goes. The first bit was a deliberate mistake. I'm including that in there, especially for you, Pete Howarth. Okay, let's try that again. It's A, F, D, C, B, C. A, F, D, C, B, C. And it's C natural, remember? On that first note, if you're wondering what I'm doing a cut on the A note. And this is how you do that. Okay, so we're going to add bar 3. Oh, first of all, let's play it together. I'll count us in. So 1 and 2 and. And one more. 1 and 2 and. So let's now play bars 1, 2 and 3. And again, I'll do a count in. 1 and 2 and. Okay, let's do that one more time. 1 and 2 and. So now we're on to bar 4. We're starting on a high E. And again, I'm going to do a cut on the high note. So we've got some slightly faster notes in this bar. First three notes, E, D, C, and then we've got a little faster passage of notes, B, C, D, B. And you could do a cut on the high E. This is how I do a cut on an E. So let's try that together. Just that bar. 1 and 2 and. And again. 1 and 2 and. And one more. 1 and 2 and. Okay, let's now play bars 1, 2, 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and. Let's do that one more time. 1 and 2 and. Okay, so we've now learned half of part 1, and we're going to commence with the second half of part 1. And like many tunes, the first 2 bars are the same as some of the music we've already played, as you will see. So the bars number 5 and 6 of part 1 are the same as bars 1 and 2 of part 1. So we're just going to repeat those notes. This is what it sounds like. Do that again. Okay, so now let's move on to the next bar. We're on bar number 6 now. So it goes like this. I'm playing A, D, B, C, A, G. Let's just play that little bit together. 1 and 2 and. And again. 1 and 2 and. Okay, we're now going to play bars 4, 5 and 6. So we're still in the second half of part 1 from the bit where it starts to repeat itself. I'll count us in and we'll try and do it together. 1 and 2 and. Let's do that one more time. 1 and 2 and. And we're ready to kind of round off the tune now. The last few notes. E, D, D, D. So that last little bit that we've just done, E, D, D, D. Let's just do the bar immediately before that and that last little bit. So it sounds like this. So I think now we can have a go at playing the whole second half of part 1. So we're going from bar number 5 and up to bar number 8. Okay, here we go. Let's do that together. 1 and 2 and. Let's try that one more time. 1 and 2 and. Okay, so now we've learnt the whole of the first part of the tune in 2 halves, and it's time to put all of that together and play the whole of part 1. Okay, I'm going to play part 1 all the way through, just for listening. Now I'm going to count in and we're going to play it together twice through. In the middle of the parts where we're in between the first time we play it and going into the repeat, we're going to bridge the gap with the E that appears at the end of bar 8. That's a little kind of bridge note that takes you back in. Also known as an anacrusis. Right, here we go. 1 and 2 and. Okay, so now we've learnt the first part, I'm going to play the second part, the B part of the tune, slowly. Okay, so that's what the second part sounds like, and now I'm going to show you the notes. Okay, so at the beginning of part 2 is where we get the accidental C sharp note, and it only appears in that very first bar of part 2. So it's the second note of the bar. So this is how it goes. So what I'm doing there is D, C sharp, D, F, E, D. And I'm doing a cut on the high F. And that's how I do a cut on the high F. So that little bit is... Let's do that together. 1 and 2 and. And again, 1 and 2 and. Bar 2, we're back to C natural. C natural, A, G, A. I'm doing a cut on that final note, the A. You'll see a rest there after the A. Again, this is a good place for flute and whistle players to breathe. So let's go back to the beginning of the B part. We're going to play the first bar and the second bar of the B part. The first bar is the one with the C sharp in it. The second bar, we're back to C natural. Let's do that again. 1 and 2 and. One and 2 and. And again, 1 and 2 and. Now we're on the next little bit. So we're going to go into bar 3 of the B part, but we're going to include as part of that the note that's at the very end of bar 2, because that's really a lead-in note to bar 3. So we're going to start on the offbeat, the B. So what I'm doing there is B, C, B, C, E, D, C. Let's do that together. 1 and 2. And again, 1 and 2. Let's go back to the beginning of part B. We're going to play bars 1, 2 and 3. 1 and 2. One and 2. Okay, we're now on bar 4. The notes for bar 4, we've got a little quicker sequence of notes at the beginning. So what's happening now is we're going B, C, D in quick succession. If you're a wind instrument player, you would be slurring those notes, sort of, you know, with your blowing. So it's... And then when we get to the G in this bar, you can either go G, F, G, or you can replace that with a G roll. Okay, let's try that together, that bar. 1 and 2 and again 1 and 2 and. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning of part B now, because we've learnt the first half of part B. And I'll play the first 4 bars of part B just for you to listen to. And let's now try that together. Starting on the high D. And remember, in the first bar we've got the C sharp, second bar we're back to C natural. Here we go. 1 and 2 and. Let's do that together. 1 and 2 and. One more time. 1 and 2 and. Okay, so we've learnt the first half of the B part of the tune, and now we're going to crack on and learn the last 4 bars. So we're now on bar 5 of part B, and we're going to learn the last bit of the tune. So the first few notes are that's A, D, D, high F, high E, high D. A, D, D, high F, high E, high D. And when I'm playing the high F, I'm doing a cut on it. Let's do that together. 1 and 2 and. And again, 1 and 2 and. Let's look at the next bar. We're back to C natural. You might have noticed, if you're a whistle player, that I tend to alternate between 2 fingerings for C natural. That fingering, which is kind of the common fingering, and that fingering as well. I tend to find that one more in tune on this whistle. It's a beautiful Killarney whistle, but I find that more in tune. But sometimes, if I'm playing fast, I can get away with that. So just for the eagle-eyed amongst you, I'll just point that out. So next bit, as I say, starts on a C natural. It goes C, A, G, C, A, G, E, F, G. C, A, G, E, F, G. Of course, it's F sharp. So let's just do that together. 1 and 2 and. And again, 1 and 2 and. Let's play now the bar, that bar and the one immediately before it. So we're starting with A, D, D, F, E, D, then C, A, G, E, F, G. Okay, so it's bars 5 and 6 for the second part. Do that together. 1 and 2 and. And again. 1 and 2 and. So now we're ready to finish the tune off with the last 2 bars. So the first of those is this. It goes A, D, B, C, A, G, and then it ends with E, D, D, D. Now those notes are exactly the same as the last 2 bars of the first part, so we've already really covered those. I'll just play those 2 bars. So I'll count you in, play that with me just as a refresher because you already know the notes. 1 and 2 and. One and 2 and. Okay. So let's just play the whole second half of the tune. So we're going to start from the 1, 2, 3, 4, bar 5. Okay, and then on to the next bit. So let's go from there. So starting with A, D, D, F, E, D. The last 4 bars of the B part. 1 and 2 and. Let's do that again. 1 and 2 and. And again, 1 and 2 and. So now we've learnt the whole of the B part of the tune, and what we're going to do now is play the whole B part together. Right, so we're going to play the whole B part. I'll just play it once through first just to remind you how it goes. Right, let's try and play that together just once through. 1 and 2 and. You'll see that there are 2 different endings. Ending 1 of the B part is how you play the tune when you're going back into the B part again to do the repeat. And ending 2 is what you do when you're going back into the first part of the tune to repeat the whole thing. So the first ending is. So it's an F after your 3 Ds, you're doing an F and an A, and then that takes you back into the first note of the second part, which is D, C sharp, D. This is how that sounds in time. Okay, And the second ending is what you do when you're going back into the first part. You just do a kind of a single D note, either by looking at the music or by listening to the tune being played continuously. That will probably help you to pick those little linkages up. I'll count us in. 1 and 2 and. Right, so now everyone's learnt the whole tune. This being a video, potentially if you need to, you can go back and listen again to any bits that you need to listen to. But for now, what we're going to do is play the whole tune through. We're going to do it through 3 times. We're going to put in all the repeats. We're going to put in all the little linkage notes. And you can just play along with that, and that will just give you some experience of playing the tune. Okay, so here we go. 1 and 2 and. Well, we've learnt Paddy Fahey's jig today, and I hope you've found this video useful and that you've played along with me and learnt the tune. And what I hope more than anything is that it won't be too long before some of us can get together and play it with each other. Okay, everyone keep well and happy, and I'll see you next week with another video.